How's it going, guys? Today we're going to replace the distributor on this 2002 Honda Accord on the 2.2 liter 4-cylinder. This is actually my brother's car, and it's been leaking oil pretty heavily out of the distributor O-ring. It's got about 40,000 miles on it, so we just figured it's time to go ahead and replace the distributor as well. So I'm going to show you how that's done. It's actually a fairly simple job. So a couple things you'll need here is 3/8 ratchet is what I'm going to use, an extension, a 12mm 6-point. Don't use a 12-point or anything crazy like that. A little ink pen, a new distributor, of course, if you're going to go that route. If not, you just need this little O-ring. Here's the part number right here. You can get this at AutoZone, O'Reilly's, Advance, Pep Boys. I think they still have some of those around. And Napa. We got a Napa here in Kansas. That's actually where this came from. And of course, I'm using the back of my Corvette. It's okay. It's just a C4 though, so it's not that big a deal. Okay, so it's not the end of the world if you get this mixed up. I mean, you can always figure out where this stuff goes. But I just like to label stuff. It's going to make your life a lot easier, and we're all about saving time around here and making things easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little paint pill right here, or paint marker, and mark on here. Now this is starting with 1, 2, 3, and 4. I just like to keep it simple. Let me switch hands here. I'm right-handed. Okay. After some elbow grease, I was able to get the lid off of this marker. I think I've had this in the garage for about 3 years now, so we'll see if it works. But I just like to make little dots or lines. You know, there's 1. Coming down here is 2. This is 3. And 4. And as long as you kind of remember, you know, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, it's pretty simple to go back together. Not the end of the world if you get it mixed up, but like I said, it's going to make it a lot easier. And once you got those marked, you can go ahead and just take them off. Depending on how long they've been on there, you know, you might have some trouble. You don't want to break the leads. They're going to be replacing those too. So just kind of simply rock them back and forth. I'm using this left hand here. And they just pop right off of there. I think we did these not too long ago, if I remember right. Quite a few Hondas in the family, so there we go. We like reliability around here. Okay. Got those off. Next step, we're going to pop out these 2 bolts right here. There's 12mm right here. You've got this connector right here that needs to come off. You just squeeze the end of it right here. Okay, so if yours is like mine, it was probably on there for quite a few 100,000 miles. And it's kind of baked itself on there. My connector here, you can see right there, there's just a little tab you push down. It helps if you push it forward and then try to, get off this little ledge right here, and it'll pop right off. So we might put some dielectric grease in there, a little grease, just so it's not so hard for the next guy, or if we have to do it, it won't be so bad. Alright, so on this side, the 12mm bolt heads right there, I didn't need an extension for this side. You can see all that oil grease coming off. So we're just going to go ahead and back this little bolt out right here. If you're in the market for a new ratchet, I recommend gear wrenches like 84 teeth. 3/8 and 1/4-inch ratchet combos are freaking awesome. I can barely turn this thing, and look at that. That's like 3 notches right there. It's really good for little tight spots like this. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just like to recommend good tools when I find them. Alright, so I have this one right here. This bolt on the back, I just kind of have my, I think it's like a 3-inch extension. And like probably a deep 12, and I'm able to grab that. So probably a 6 if you got a short 12. But I'm able to get that bolt just right underneath that connector right here. And yeah, it's not too hard to break loose. So okay, and we're going to just pull this thing straight out. Try to be really careful not to move it, especially that cam inside there. So just kind of pop it right back out and straight up. And there she is. You can tell that's exactly where his oil leak was coming from. That O-ring has failed. In fact, I think I see it's got a big old flat spot right there in it. So preventative maintenance, because eventually this distributor, they leak inside the rotor cap and everything else too. So it's just time to change it. dude definitely needs to change his oil a lot more frequently. Okay, you always want to make sure you got obviously the right part. Just double check it, make sure everything looks exactly the same. And you see our little rotor right here, this little cam gear. We want to make sure that is exactly the same. So this like it's straight up and down. So we're going to turn ours until it's straight up and down. All right. Actually, that's got more of like an angle to it, so we're going to turn ours. Basically, you just want it exactly how this one here was. Boy, that one was pretty loose. I mean, I know they got some play, but my gosh. Okay. Yep, everything looks good. Make sure our connectors are the same. Look to be. He ordered the parts, so I want to make sure got the right one. You never know. Alright, next we just kind of want to clean this spot right here. Just kind of get some of this gunk and stuff out. You're not going to get it all. I mean, oil's obviously going to be higher than that. Don't turn that gear in there either. We just want to kind of clean this surface area. Make sure where this is sitting and it's not going to start leaking as soon as we put this new one on here. So just kind of take some brake clean, try not to get inside the engine. Maybe spray the rag first. And just kind of clean this all up here. Alright, you want to put a little new clean motor oil right here on this seal. Obviously it's going to spend its life in oil, so it's okay if it gets oily. Just, make sure it doesn't have any rocks or grease or anything that's going to, or you make sure it's not going to cut that O-ring too. So we're going to go ahead and just, same way we put that one on, just kind of stick it in there. Okay, once you got that little cam gear stabbed in there, you just want to start your bolts and just kind of periodically start on one side, tighten it up over there, and then the same over there. Don't just kind of hammer one side down. Sorry, my screen was getting a little blurry there. Okay. So once you got that all done, then we just got to plug back in this little connector. The spark plug wires go back on the order that they came. Remember, it's counterclockwise, starting with that one being number 1. And yeah, I sprayed down some degreaser over here so we can figure out if the oil leak stopped or if we've got another oil leak. And like high mileage Hondas, they like to leak from everywhere. So we've already done the valve cover gasket, oil pan gaskets next if that's what we think is leaking, but there was definitely oil coming from high up, and we saw the back of that distributor, so we know that one was definitely one of the oil leaks. So alright, okay, when you're all done, should look just like it did before we started, minus the disgusting old distributor. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to degrease just all underneath there. You never want to power wash, really. I mean, I've seen guys do it, I've done it. I don't recommend it just because, you can, that's an electronic part and they're made water resistant. They're not made waterproof. So, nowhere naturally is your car getting power washed when it's driving every single day. Yeah, you might hit a puddle, stuff like that. It's going to prevent you from water getting up in the electronics, but it's not going to prevent a, 2800 PSI freaking power washer right on it. It's just not good for it. So use a garden hose if you are going to do this. Try to get underneath all the electronics. Sorry, I had like a frog in my throat. And just kind of, spray underneath there. That's what I'm going to do. Just get all this oil and crap off of here. He lives in an apartment and they get kind of crabby about leaking cars. So, alright. I'm going to go ahead and clean all this up.